So which of these two types of messages work better when it comes to creating a marketing message, such as a subject line on an email, headline on a web page, perhaps even a social media post? Over all the years of testing various marketing ideas, particularly the last 30 years since I've been in this particular business, I've been using the idea of using more away motivated messages than towards motivated messages, focusing on the pain that people will avoid as opposed to the benefits they will gain. And this, of course, is called aversion. And if we think back to the work of Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel Prize winner, and his colleague Amos Tversky back in 1979, was it? Was it that far back? It was 1979, when they talked about prospect theory, that the pain of losing was psychologically twice as powerful compared to the benefit of gaining. So if that's true, I believe it to be true, if it is more psychologically powerful to talk about what people are going to experience as a pain, and that was what will move them, then again this comes back to the idea of aversion, that most people will prefer to avoid losing, say, £10 than they will to gaining £10. And this is very powerful for our marketing messages. So when I've been promoting, for example, a free report, I would use a message that said, do you make these mistakes? And focusing on the mistakes rather than do you get this benefit. So there is a benefit, obviously, if you avoid the mistakes, but the message was, do you make these mistakes? Similarly, when I was running seminars on product creation, I was using a headline to the marketing on the web page and in the email marketing copy as well, that talked about the fact that you could gain at least £50,000, because I was promoting this in the UK, every year by having follow-up informational products. And then I tested that against that you would lose up to £50,000 a year by not having informational products. And in fact, I even changed that message later by changing the verb, because I'd interviewed Roy H. Williams, the Wizard of Ads, and he made a comment to me about use better verbs. So instead of saying you would lose, I actually changed that message to that you would sacrifice £50,000 a year. And that headline outpulled what I would call the towards motivated headline about what you could gain. You could possibly gain up to £50,000 extra. And that figure wasn't plucked out of the air. That was a figure that I knew could work for me and work for other people as well. And here's a bonus idea, if you will, on the idea of away and towards motivation. If we believe that away motivation is the catalyst for action, it's what gets people into action. You know, the old story about man years and years, thousands of years ago, walking across the savannah and sees the classic saber-toothed tiger. He doesn't say to his friend, what do you think? Should we run away? What do you think? Should we sit here and talk about it? No, he goes straight away, don't you? It's instant action. Whereas, same couple of guys walking along and they see a nice apple tree and in the distance they say to themselves, should we have an apple? I mean, yeah, are you hungry? Well, yeah, a little bit. Well, let's wander over there and get it. There's no urgency to that, is there? But so the away motivation has an urgency to it. So one of the things I've done for many, many years, in fact, is to put an away motivated comment just before the call to action on a piece of marketing, whether that's on an email or a web page, whatever it might be. So just in front, or even in a conversation, to remind somebody of the pain of inaction. If they keep doing what they're doing now, they're going to continue to experience the pain they've been experiencing with the problem, if they've got that, or to experience the pain going forward by not taking the action to gain whatever it is we're talking about. I'm sure all of that makes some sense in some convoluted way, but basically, away motivation has worked for me. Will it work for you? I don't know. All I do know that it'd be well worthwhile making it one of the major tests that you do with your marketing message to test whether or not talking about the problem as opposed to talking about the solution produces higher conversions. So if that's been useful, there's plenty more of these videos about. So in the meantime, I wish you every success in all your adventures in life. From me, Peter Thomson, until the next time, goodbye for now.